you're going to receive great joy. So what's the first thing of these biblical teachings from Scripture? They're taken from the life of the ministry of Jesus Christ. These principles provide the biblical foundation for why we do what we do. Number one, the Bible teaches that Christians should be incarnational of the gospel they proclaim. It's profound, isn't it? Is it unreasonable for God to expect us to live out what he said? Or are we supposed to just, oh, that's just for Sunday morning? Maybe Wednesday night if I'm really good. You know. 16 years as a youth pastor changes you. And when you hear kids sitting around Sunday school table or community group talking about how that their parents live one way on Sunday and the rest of the week they live how they ever want to live. And you wonder why those kids don't want to follow Christ. Because they see that two-faced animal, those masks that we put on. Well, we start with the fact that God expects us to be incarnational with this gospel that we proclaim. Regardless of the audience, Jesus always communicated his saving message through both word and deed. Think about his life. We're going to look at a verse in a minute or two. But as dedicated disciples, we are encouraged to do the same. We're encouraged to live it out. Luke 4:18 and 19 says this. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has appointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim that captives will be released, that the blind will see, that the downtrodden will be freed from their oppressions, and the time of the Lord's favor has come. He's called every single one of us to do that. And let me tell you something. The poor isn't just the guy who needs a meal. We're all beggars. Every single one of you in this room is poor. Every single one of you have no hope without Jesus Christ. That's what he's communicating to. Every single person is a candidate for the gospel of Christ. And we have to start viewing that way. We have to start looking at the divine appointments, these divine encounters that we live on a daily basis, where God has so arranged humanity for people that are broken just like us to show up in our lives. And what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Are you going to seize hold of that opportunity, or are you just going to put blinders on and walk by? You see, that's where Christianity, we have detached it to professional clergy. We have detached it to it's a church thing. Hey, listen, who says that the church has to organize us to go out and clean toilets in Brookhaven? Who says it's the church that has to organize us to go out and give cold bottles of water? Who says it's the church to go and collect bread to give to people that are hungry? It's not the church says. God says. There's another verse, Matthew 4:23 and 25, where Jesus ministered to great crowds. He went through all of Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom, healing every disease, every affliction among the people. So his fame spread throughout all Syria, and they brought him all of the sick, those afflicted with various diseases and pains, those oppressed by demons, epileptics, and paralytics, and he healed them. And the great crowds followed him from Galilee, and from Jerusalem and Judea, and from beyond the Jordan. 1 John 3:17 and 18, it says, but anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him. How does God's love abide in him? My little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and truth. It gives me joy from the fact that we've gotten great press in the newspaper for what we do. It really blesses my heart to hear people who are without the truth say nice things about us. But it breaks my heart that they're not flocking to the door yet because of what we have to offer. I've always said that Jesus never said, build it and they will come. But what's really perplexing me is our deeds should cause an explosion of people coming to truth. You want revival? Serve people. You want to see people come in mass? Go solve hard problems. I had a pastor friend one time said, listen, it's not enough just to dream dreams, but dream dreams that only God himself could fulfill. Take on projects that God himself, it's the only way it's going to succeed if God shows up. That's transformation. I think we're on the right track. I really do. I think we're on to something. I really believe that we are learning. You know, we're 5 years in. We're learning. We have learned so much about what not to do. We have learned, wow, if I do it this and this and this and follow the Spirit of God and pray and fast and, whoa. We had 2 university groups. We had countless people. We had 6 events to see 1 family of visitors come. Wow. I think that speaks volumes about our society, that they don't see it. They have this vast need, but they don't see the solution. I think they're only going to see the solution if we go serve them, if we go love them, if we go proclaim. Listen, Penn and Teller, I love their act. I really do. But Penn Jillette made a phenomenal statement one day. This guy went out of his way to get him a Bible. I mean, he hunted him down in this line, and he went and because he's a profound atheist. I mean, he's a famous atheist. Okay, this guy who's a believer came and gave him a Bible. Penn's comment was, I really have respect for that guy because of the crap that I gave him. Most Christians don't really believe what they believe, or that everybody would be doing this to me. They really believed I was lost and going to hell. How far are we willing to go? Jesus lived incarnationally. He was out and about. He seized every opportunity. He served people. He loved people. Steve Shojan, no relation, by the way, that I know of, because he spells his name the Swedish or whatever way, with the J and not the H. He's one of my favorite authors. He wrote the book Conspiracy of Kindness, and he coined the phrase servant evangelism. He wrote a comment one time when people were asking about why be incarnational. He said, well, how do you see people? Okay, this word incarnational. How do we see people? He says, he first presents the false idea of evading lost people, therefore trying to avoid personal responsibility. The next undesirable option is to pervade the lost world through overpowering personal witness that usually results in an argumentative atmosphere. What God led him to do is to make this choice to evade society through incarnational ministries that combines intentional personal evangelism with the genuine spirit of Christ-like servanthood. So we have this thing where some of Christianity just evades. We avoid people, you know. Leonard Sweet said to me one time about when he discovered I was a Baptist. We were talking. The conversation was about how that a group of us were talking about our different churches. And he was Methodist, there was 2 Presbyterians, there was a Pentecostal guy, and they were all talking about how their churches were just dying, their denominations were drying up. Then they looked at me, so what are you? And I said, Baptist. And they're going, oh, you guys aren't dying. You're looking for caves in the hillside, laying up canned goods and ammo to hide the women and children from society. And yet Jesus said highways and byways, and that was the intent of that conversation. A bulk of Christianity is avoiding dealing with the lostness. The second thing about Christianity that we seem to be doing a whole lot is we look for an argument. Why do we look for an argument? Do you understand arguments? You might win this little battle, and you'll feel really good about it, but the guy still loses. What was Paul's comment with King Agrippa? I wish I could fully persuade you. It's not about an argument. It's not about proving they're wrong. They don't even know they're wrong. And by the way, just pointing out to them they're wrong isn't enough. We have the emphasis on the wrong syllable. The emphasis should be showing them that they're wrong, but sharing with them what is right. How do you convince somebody? How do you convince someone who's a beggar, who's blind, who is hurting, who's hungry, that they need to eat? You restore them and heal them.